Hello and welcome to Edukemy's YouTube channel. My name is Harsh Singh and in this video we shall discuss current affairs and Gazette for today, that is 17th February 2022. Before we begin, let me welcome all the people here in the discussion. We have Kriti, Amlan, Hima, Netra, Ashish, Bhavani, Tiyasha, all of you, welcome. Ashish and all of you people. Ravi, yes. And who else has joined? All right, these many people right now in the answers. Vivek Dikshit, good evening to you as well. Vivek, why wouldn't you participate in answers? That's a very beautiful thing to do. And Netra, special acknowledgement to you, blazing across. Jugnu says they want a monthly compilation. All right, Jugnu, we are working on that also. We've been working on quite a few projects. Some of them we are attempting to bring up. One of them is the Current Affairs Gazette Daily. Hi Mukesh, good evening to you. So Jugnu, the concept behind the monthly is that it is just a compilation of the daily. Now the reason that we don't provide a monthly right now, it is a very easy task for us to do, is that if you see the monthly of various other institutes, I'm just telling you a broad idea because I'm aware of how the market is. They would try to present a monthly for say 90 pages, 100 pages, or say 80 pages. Because more than this, if the number of pages is 150, you wouldn't read ever. So when people try to, consolidate every material, all of it in 80, 90 pages, the explanation, it goes away, right? It goes away. And though it might seem as if it is good in the number of pages, but then you wouldn't understand the article and its essence as well. Now, when we have our Gazette for say 8 pages or 9 pages, if you multiply it by 22, it comes to 170 pages, 180 pages. We wouldn't want to just compile the document and give it to you. We wouldn't want to do that. That's the reason that I always say you go behind the dailies. Monthly is a myth. Monthly is a myth. And even 365 is a myth. It is only a revision tool to understand that yes, I have completed this portion and I have revised it right here. And in case you missed out, you can look at 365 or monthly. If you look at the monthly for your monthly level preparation, then you will have to dedicate 4 or 5 days to study this 100-page magazine, right? Or 3-4 days at least. And in this case, do you actually do it like this? Do you dedicate at the 30th of every month, do you dedicate 4 days for current affairs and then move to the traditional areas? Nobody does it. Not even a single student would do a thing like this. Monthly is only a way out for those who actually think that since I have not covered it around the year, let me cover up through the monthly. It is only through, for self-satisfaction. But yes, a couple of hours every day, it will help you build your answers. It will help you gain perspective. It will help you interact with others. It will also help prepare notes. So why not daily? That's the point. There is no point in looking at 365 or 30-day magazine. This is what I feel, Jugnu. But then we are still working on it, right? Because in the market, what sells is monthly. What actually sells is monthly, because people are tricked. But those people wouldn't be able to clear if you're only looking at the monthly magazine. This is my perspective to it. Right, Jugnu? So, but yeah, we are working on it. Thank you for this input. Hi, Mukesh, Pooja, good evening. Vakram, thank you. Jugnu, keep performing every day. That is the way to it, right? And there 15 of you who have written very, very good answers right here. So let's begin this. And before that, good news for all of you. Good news is this, that UPSC has increased the number of seats for all of you. If you're attempting UPSC 2022, the number of seats tentatively, which was part of the notification, was 861, and they have increased 150 more seats. And then it comes to total 1,000 and around 1,010 seats. This is tentative. This was tentative. They increased the number of seats, 150. And in fact, this is a reformation in the Indian civil services, a specific reformation which was recommended by Bibek Roy Committee, right? So Bibek Dev Roy Committee said in 2015, this was about railway reforms. There are 8 different services in railways. 3 of them selected through civil services and 5 of them through engineering services, Indian engineering services, right? And 3 of them through the Indian civil services. So usually the number of services that would be there in UPSC notification would be around 22, 23. And this year, the number of services was only 19. I checked this. I checked it. That's why I'm saying this to you. Why? The number of 3 services that were not there were from railway services, railway traffic, railway accounts, and railway personnel. They were not there. And what the government has now done is that it is taking only one examination. It will have only one service that will be called as Indian Railway Management Service, IRMS, right from now. Why I'm explaining you this example is very relevant from the perspective of quality governance and efficiency in governance services, bureaucracy, etc. Indian Railway Management Services. It will be the capsule. It will encapsulate all the 8 services. What are these 8 services? 3 from railway services, right? Civil services, and 5 of them from engineering services. Engineering, mechanical, electrical, railway store, and railway signal. All these 8 services integrated into one. Why? See, when there are 8 various departments and their promotions and hierarchies, and each of them are different, then there is a lot of competition between all these departments. Who is to be promoted? Who is to become a part of the railway board? See, in all the other departments and ministries, the people at the secretary level or people at the members of the top notch, that ministry would be IS officers. But it is only railway department, even in defense, it is IS officers, not the defense officers, right? But only in case of railway, we have a railway board. And in this, the members of the railway board are the people who have gotten promoted from civil services or engineering services. And the chairperson of the railway board is the Rail Mantri, right? Railway minister. Now, in case of promotions to railway board, there will be politicization, which services to get selected and which not to. They will be working, these departments will be working in silos, right? Alone away from each other. There will be lesser integration, lesser efficiency in railways. This will also lead to further red tapeism, bureaucracy, interdepartmental bureaucracy. Look at this, right? So for this, enabling all this, they said we will create only one service, Indian Railway Management Service, all right? IRMS, 150 seats. So this is good about it. Now, one more thing, GRP and RPF. This is Government Railway Police, and then we have RPF, Railway Protection Force, right? RPF, one of the services is RPF, but this is at a very very good level for you. The RPF is a service which is controlled under railway ministry, and Government Railway Police is by the state government or the district itself. So the first differentiation between both of them is that one of them is authorized by the railway ministry and the other one through the state government. Now both of them wear uniforms, right? But what is the difference here? The difference between both of them is that while GRP looks at law and order at railway organizations, at institutions where there's railway, the Railway Protection Force specifically looks for the maintenance and well-being of the railway property, right? Railway property. And GRP looks at any nuisance being conducted in railway grounds or wherever there are rail stations. GRP is their ability. So if you find policemen moving around in the train when you are seated in the train, and they're checking all the places, they're checking if the rail is doing well, if somebody is harming any part of the rail institution, RPF, right? Checking for the well-being of the rail bodies and rail institutions, right? So this is the prime difference between them. All right. All right, so 150 more, happy, great. So this is the update from today itself. 1,000 plus seats for all of you, and 1,000 plus, it has happened after quite a bit. So when Operation Ahat, it is being questioned, right? So if you remember Ahat, it was about trafficking of women and children. Who would look into it? Both the authorities can look into it, right? Both the authorities, but RPF, till now the jurisdiction is such that RPF will eventually give the authority and designation for any kind of nuisance to GRP only, right? So they catch any nuisance, for example BSF, if they catch any nuisance along the border side, they will report it to the local police only. Similarly, GRP is the local police there at district levels or state levels, and RPF will hand over the problems to them. All right. So this is it. Now look, at one place government is integrating the bodies. On the other hand, we have the ordnance factories, 41 ordnance factories. They were broken down from one institutions Ordnance Factory Board to seven or nine different institutions. This was again for efficiency, and this is again the example of efficiency. So here integrating and here decentralizing, right, for efficiency. So examples of governance. All right. The second quick update is on what we studied a few days back. That was on women, right? This is a very good example of women and migration. Natal home, right, where we were born, marital home, where we got married, and city life or urban place wherever we have shifted. And this is through these three, circles written, with the written details about them, you can indicate what are the problems they go through, or you could indicate how they keep moving from one place to another, right? So this is a good image that you could use. This could be the start point, and this could be, the point where most of the problems are there because of migration, marital home and city home, right? So good illustration. What else? What else is a quick understanding of what is the difference between failure and success. See, success is something that makes us feel good about ourselves, right? Our hard work, we receive appreciation, but success is not something we learn from, right? We feel happy about it, we enjoy it, we feel the aura around us, but success doesn't teach us. What teaches us is failure. Failure is much more faithful as a teacher than is success, right? So therefore learning from failures becomes really important, because we learn from failure, the lesson is golden, and then we keep succeeding all the time, right? Failure and success. In fact, the people who get through the best of the examinations, the most tough examinations, are not usually those who keep on succeeding every time. Those are those people who fail and yet do not refuse to give up, right? But then again comes the question, if our failure is his best teacher, why do we fear to fail? We fear to fail because we dread failure, but then failure is the one which provides lessons to us, right? So what is this fallacy here? We fear to fail, but then failure is best lesson provider. In this case, the only thing is for you to understand is that if you keep performing, right, there will be less fear of failure, right? So there are some of you who fear answer writing. I say don't fear it. Commit mistakes. Don't fear this failure. Go beyond it, and it will teach you. You will fail, it will teach you, and you will go beyond. And this is how most of the toughest battles in the life have been won, right? This is only an illustration. You and each of us are fighting our battles, but only through performance, only through action. All right. So let's get to the point, and let's get to the Gazette first. What do we have today? Today we have some very important updates. Three important updates are of green energy corridor in the India, second phase of it, solar waste to be generated, excessive in number, and third one is anti-mob lynching bill of certain use in 4 states, but then not proactively being used. This day in history dedicated to Budhu Bhagat. Featured news on climate smart agriculture. The question that I asked, we will deal with this question, and I will show you the pinpointed examples. I recognize, I read each of the examples that you have mentioned here. So climate resilient agriculture and water resistant varieties, yeah, I got you. But then, and you mentioning from Maharashtra, from Bihar, from Rajasthan, I will talk to you about the districts. I will talk to you about specific examples in climate smart agriculture, and these are the gems that you will remember, because you will be writing them in the examination. Image of the day on a place near Visakhapatnam. Terms and concepts for today: stem cell transplant, crimson rose butterfly, Tarapur Shahid Diwas from Bihar, and public order. Editorials for today is first one, outcome budgeting, if you understand what it means. The second one is more federal judiciary, and the third one is countering China and Indo-Pacific. The case study of today is on Sandhya Mukherjee. I will talk to you about this case study for today. What to be done, what not to be done. All right, so let's begin this. First snapshot, first update is on green energy corridor. Yeah, there's one beautiful thing that we have started right now, and that is that including the related articles in the Gazette right here, below the articles. So there are quite a few related articles that we have covered already in the Gazette. I would like you to, if you look at the Gazette, just click here, you will go to that particular article itself. We spoke about the geospatial energy map of India. We also spoke about green energy corridor project, phase 1. Along with that, we also spoke about global grid declaration by India, one sun, one world, one grid, and many innumerable other articles also on the same format. So I shared 4 of them right here. And before we get into understanding what is the green energy corridor, let me show to you this map that we had shown previously as well. This is the geospatial energy map of the country. Here we are talking of all the renewable, conventional, coal-driven or petroleum, natural gas-driven energy sources, and they can all be mapped. What is the quantification and what is the level of production throughout the country? Now, this could have been produced with the help of data collected from various places, right? Various energy bodies, institutions. Along with that, a lot of data could also be captured through satellites. So collection of data would be able to prepare a map, and this map is only virtual integration in the mind or in the software of how the energy could be interlinked, and the actual linkage would be done on the ground through the project. What is the project? The project that I am going to speak to you about right now is that project, right? So green energy corridor project. Now, right now we are already linking. We have linked Southern India grid, Eastern India, Western India, Northern India grids, and then we have various grids. But largely this is conventional based. If we want to have a renewable energy map for the country, this is conventional renewable, both energy map of India, geospatial energy map. But now if we only want a renewable energy map of the country, we will have to link only the solar energy, the small hydro energy, small hydro that is less than 25 megawatt. Then we will have wind energy, we will have biomass energy, geothermal energy, tidal energy, all of them which are renewable in sources. What is the capacity? The capacity is unlimited for a country like India with such a beautiful solar potential, tropical country. Now, if we produce a map like this virtually, this is not going to work. What is going to work is to create those pockets where this energy can actually be obtained, right? It can be stored. So suppose if it is Rajasthan, and then we have Gujarat, and then we have Andhra Pradesh, we have Maharashtra. Suppose these are the sites, or Ladakh. Suppose these are the sites where we have better presence of solar energy. All we got to do, so the first phase was write this, looking at those spots and creating those pockets of green energy. And the second one is linking them all. And not only, right now I'm speaking only of solar. Look at the wind potential, along the coastlines. Look at the wind potential at other places wherever they are relevant, right? Deserts or high altitude areas. And linking them all together will lead to a more stable regime for renewable energy sources. Right now, the phase 2 of Green Energy Corridor project is being implemented, linking the individual states, disparate states, with each other. This is what is in news. Now, when you look at one, so our Prime Minister also made a speech talking about one world, one sun, one world, one grid, right? Now, this was also asked in the UPSC examination. When was this declaration made? And we covered this. So, when exactly was this made? What was the intention? The first intention is to ensure that India and the sub factors, these places are installed and they are connected. The second level is the one in which India starts supplying and sharing energy with the African countries, and the third level of this grid is the one in which India connects with the whole world, right? So solar energy will become a part of this integrated grid. This is in news. All right. Cabinet Committee of Economic Affairs has recently approved 12,000 crore worth intrastate transmission systems. So first phase was where Andhra Pradesh, Gujarat, Himachal, Karnataka, MP, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, all these states would produce energy, and the second one would be the one in which they would be connecting to each other, right? So this is the update from here. Green Energy Corridor project, a very important project for the country. India has also taken loan from abroad to be able to execute a project like this. It will reduce carbon footprints, it will generate employment in the country, and long-term energy security. Absolutely. The scheme will help in achieving target of 450 gigawatt of renewable capacity by 2030. We are expecting the total capacity to be around 850, and out of that 450 renewable. This is the update, right? Now, linked to it is the second update. The second update is on solar energy itself. Do you know that the solar panels also have a life? They have a specific life of around 25 years. What happens after this? The life potential of these solar photovoltaic cells and the panel, it is no more in use, and then it becomes an e-waste, electronic waste. And this kind of electronic waste is only going to have repercussions in the country. Why? Because these are metals, minerals which are used, and they might even spoil the environment, the soil, right? They might impact the water quality. They might impact the animal biota resources at that places. Leaching leading to many other processes. For example, bioaccumulation and many other processes like this, right? So this is the update about the solar waste, right? Though India is producing lesser of the solar panels right now, but we are importing huge, and in times because the population is so high, this solar waste will only be accelerating with time. A few days back we had collected we studied about the electronic waste in batteries, in phone batteries and phones, right? Smartphones. Now solar waste. In fact, just 2 days back, I asked the electrician where I stay to take away the tube light because it was fused. It was not of use anymore. And then it does contain some harmful elements inside the tube light. In case I put it for the Safai wala to take it away, then probably it might get even it might crack when it is dismantled or thrown away. If ingestion by any animal it happens, it might lead to the death of the animal because of internal bleeding. So I said, could you take it away for processing? He says there is no facility of processing here. In fact, where I stay, there are 1200 homes. In fact, there are 2 phases, so 2400 homes, and there is no way in which processing of the waste happens. Electronic waste, no processing at all. They process the waste, the general waste, but segregation of waste is not there even in so-called decent societies of our country, right? So forget about solar waste right now. Segregation is not happening. On the other hand, if you look at the recyclability of these products, it is very high, right? For example, if yes, last year itself we had the release of the we had the policy on the vehicle scrappage. Yes, vehicle scrappage policy. And do you know, as much as 99% of vehicle components, they can be recycled. 99% of vehicle components can be recycled. Be it the glass, be it the tires, be it the body, be it the engine parts, all of it, rubber, tubes, everything can be recycled and processed again, 99% of it. And we will not have to import the parts and subparts. We will not have to deal with original equipment manufacturers of foreign origin. We can do it in the country itself, but we do not have this circular economy. And now we instituted this in vehicle because we have seen the excessive number of vehicles in the country, and its recycling can be beautiful for our country. Now same thing should be done for solar waste also. So right now you don't need to remember these many tons on solar waste. All you need to know is the philosophy, that is electronic waste is not being segregated and processed. Required is to ensure that this is segregated and processed, right? Circular economy in electronics and electrical sector. We have covered a complete feature news on this. E-source, good example here. E-source is that platform. Just last month I think we had covered this. This is that. So this is for your memory, my dear friends. E-source is that. How many of you do remember e-source? E-source is that particular platform where one can store the electronic waste and they can utilize it for their own welfare, right? So they can generate an economy out of it. So there'll be a platform on which you upload. I have got 2 computers, 1 laptop, 1 panel, all has to be sold, their waste, and somebody will be sourcing it from here. So this is a very good, right? Similarly, energy storage, ISRO's power calculator. See, right now we have the solar power calculator of which place will have how much energy. Depending on this power calculator, we will also be able to speculate what will be the kind of waste generation at that particular place. How smart? But we don't have those facilities there right now. Who will institute them? You people, as you get into the civil services, you will have to install those facilities. These are mere ideas right now. You have to convert them into reality. All right. Okay. Hi Kanupriya, good evening. Ashish says, so sir, now can students from arts background also be able to head engineering departments? So right now the integration that I have seen is for these 3 services. these 3 services integrated into one. The idea was originally to institute all those 8 services into one service, but then are the people from engineering background also going to get through in that or not? I read a couple of news on this, so I'm not sure about the 5 other services. All right, grid integration, yes. Kriti, no worries. All right. So Netra, you remember, this is a great thing. Beautiful, very beautiful that you remember e-source here, because these are the examples you are going to put, not only for electronic, you are going to give these examples for circular economy, all of it. Everybody else, please keep noting how Netra is able to give such precise examples is because she is remembering them. Third update is on anti-mob lynching bill. Supreme Court had told the government that we must institute a anti-mob lynching bill. These days we have seen the extent of vigilantism in the country, right? Vigilante people who are observing what's going wrong, and then they also come on to take law in their hands. And there are times when it is a mob action, right? And in mob we do not know who the actual culprit is. So in these kind of cases the conviction rate is very low, it is less than 20%, right? And when there are less than 5 people in that particular mob, it will not even be called as mob, because it will not be collection, a gathering of 5 or more people. So therefore conviction falls even lesser than what it should be. 4 states have instituted a bill, right? So Jharkhand being one, then we have Northeast state. There are a couple of states instituting this bill, but then it has not been executed properly at all the places because of these kind of small issues. Also, we do not have lynching as any part of Indian Penal Code. Murdering, attempt to murder, along with mob mentality, these are the kind of IPCs, Indian Penal Code, under which people are charged, but there is no mob lynching term specifically used in the Indian Penal Code, right? So the usage of term is not there. Then the conviction is also dependent on the number of people who are present at that particular place. So having at least 5 number of people will ensure that they had, they were a collection of people, and then that is how it will be called as a, mob. See, it says if a number of accused are acquitted and total number of accused becomes less than 5, charges will be removed due to non-fulfillment of criteria of unlawful assembly. If you didn't find 5 people, they would not be charged under this particular section. And this was one of the sections through which people were charged along with murder, right? Unlawful assembly, murder. So what do we need is an amendment in the law which talks about lynching, right? Then there is another principle in our, this is, Blackstone was a gentleman, right? A British gentleman, and he said that better than 10 guilty persons escape than 1 innocent suffer. So what was their idea is that we will let 10 people escape who are convicted, rather than ensuring that 1 person, innocent person, gets behind the bars. So innocent until proven guilty. This is the actual principle. And because of this, many people are not convicted. The conviction rate is very low. This is what leads to many people getting away from these kind of mob violence. Jharkhand, Rajasthan, West Bengal, Manipur. These 4 states had instituted a law against the lynching provisions, right? So the central government has decided to overhaul the IPC and CRPC based on Committee for Reforms in Criminal Laws, right? So they will now be introducing what will be called as mob lynching. All right. Sir, why central government seems less strict with respect to lynching? Do you expect a question like this in the exam? Vivek, if you do, I will respond to this. If you do not, then I will not respond to this. We will deal with exam matters. And this is where I would like you all to look at the previous year questions. They are the guide. The syllabus is the guide. UPSC syllabus wouldn't ask. Okay, it's for you to answer, Vivek. This day in history dedicated to Budhu Bhagat. Who was he? He was one of the persons who fought against the Britishers, right? And the time he fought was 1831-32. This was the coal movement in Jharkhand area. right? So quick reminder, coal movement in Jharkhand in 1832-33, and then we had the Sidhu Kano Santhal rebellion in Jharkhand itself in 1856, Sidhu Kano the brothers, and after that we also have Ulughan. This is the mass revolution conducted by Birsa Munda, the tribal god, one of the considered tribal gods, in the year 1899-1900. So this is the sequence. This is usually asked in the exam, first, second and third. What is the sequence? So this gentleman, he also led the coal movement, Veer Budhu Bhagat, right? Sacrificed his life at the early age. Today is his birthday, right? See, the prime factor which led to instigation of the innocent tribals against the Britishers was that they were being deprived of the land in which they were cultivating. They were being deprived of the powers of even venturing out in the forest and enjoying the minor forest producers. So they all wanted the Dikhus to go out, the outsiders to go out of their own area. So this is the reason that many states which have tribal population, they try to preserve tribal autonomy, tribal culture, tribal lands. So tribal land can only be purchased or offered to a tribal person, right? So this is a law in Jharkhand. Tenancy Act. Feature news for the day is on climate smart agriculture, right? Beautifully understood and beautifully depicted here. And we will go beyond this beautiful article to give those amazing examples for you. Breakthrough examples which will make you stand apart. And what you got to do is remember them. We've also given the suggested links. See, these are suggested links. We have covered all these topics previously. Digital agriculture, nanotechnology, mechanization, precision farming, crop varieties with special traits, exactly to the point. But I will give you points beyond this as well. Covered from where? Covered from Gazette and Cosmos only. Image of the day is on a place near Visakhapatnam. This is called as Erra, Matti, Dibbalu. If you see this place, and people here are here for preservation of this place, a cleanup drive for this place. This place is formed during a lot of processes, very much close to the coastal area, right? So coastal inundation would impact it. Special kind of soil would exist here, red soils, and then these are sand dunes. Not only that, the primitive times, thousands and thousands, maybe lakhs and millions of years back, the formation of those times, all of them impacting the local geology of this place and the whole landscape and biota. This is what is being preserved, right? A better part of Visakhapatnam, beautiful part being preserved. And I remember many questions have been asked from the image of the day only. How did this happen? I don't know. Are UPSC question setters looking at our magazine or current affairs? I don't know, but then they have been asked. I will show that. Why don't you yourself look at the blogs that I shared? You will find them all there. All right. So Vivek, if you don't think so, then why do we discuss this? We will, if we meet in person someday, we will definitely talk about this. Somik, Diku means outsider. Absolutely. Somik, absolutely. The word is CNT, Chota Nagpur Tenancy Act and Santhal Pargana Act, right? So there's a story behind these passage of these acts. All right. The first term in news is stem cell transplant. This was there in newspapers for today's newspapers. This is the first time that a person with leukemia, a kind of leukemia, has become first woman to be cured of HIV. Yeah. So she was treated of HIV with the help of stem cell transplantation. So complex process, and the HIV that she had, this was cleared off with the help of stem cell treatment, right? So these stem cells are those pluripotent cells that are taken from some specific places. For example, umbilical cord, Nabhi, that we call in Hindi, and these are some places. Also from our mother's womb, right? They could be taken, and these stem cells are preserved. This is the technology which is going to come in the times, right? So they'll be preserved in stem cell bank, and in case we catch any disease, our stem cells will be taken back, and through that some cells will be created and they will replace the body part. This is one of the ways in which this can happen. Right now what has happened is that the person's blood was infected, And some of these specific places, the blood was taken out, it was processed, refined, chemotherapy was given, and later on the stem cells again were injected in the body, stem cells from the bone marrow. So this is how this complex process of stem cell transplantation worked in this person, and then she's the first person ever to be treated of HIV through stem cell transplantation. Stem cell therapy. Crimson rose butterflies, they were again in news. Why? Because these crimson, the color crimson, these butterflies, they flow from a place called as Dhanushkodi in Tamil Nadu, Rameshwaram, and they flow to Sri Lanka, right? So on the way, they would sit on to the beautiful flowers, right? So to be able to gather their fuel, nectar. So this is a very good example of bioindicator, ecological indicator, the presence of the beautiful crimson rose butterflies. They are not endangered species, they are least concerned, but then they are least concerned because they are found in high numbers. Why are they found in high numbers? Is because the place is full of biodiversity. Had the place not been full of biodiversity, they would have also gone endangered or possibly extinct as well, right? So they were in news. Dhanushkodi is located at southernmost tip of Rameshwaram Islands. That's true. Tarapur Shahid Diwas. Dhanushkodi is the place from where the mythical Ram Setu starts. All right. What image? Oh, I think Amlan is speaking of this image. Quite possibly. Tarapur Shahid Diwas. Tarapur Shahid Diwas is in news because Bihar government has said that this particular Shahidi by people here belonging to this particular place would be, it would be dedicated as Shahid Divas in Bihar. So this is where in Munger district of Bihar, people rebelled or they protested against the hanging of Bhagat Singh, Sukhdev and Rajguru in 1931, and 1932, this is when they were protesting, and police people, they came and they lathi charge and massacre of all the people, and 4,000 strong crowd pelted the police with stones, and the resultant was the massacre, which is believed to be the biggest one carried out by the British police after Jallianwala Bagh. Well, imagine, and this was in news. Shahidi Divas. So do remember this, right? Bihar, Tarapur, subdivision of Munger in Bihar, and year 1932. All right. In newspapers, Hindu as well. Public order. Now, in this hijab controversy which we discussed with clarity. So now the government, because of public disorder, now government can impose, possibilities of, withholding the public order, and then for that sake, nobody has to, wear religious symbols at their colleges. So when I was reading one segment of the newspaper, when you go to a degree college, that is not a problem. Degree college, there is no civil code. There is no code for, uniforms. But for, going to 12th class, that kind of college, you will have to wear a particular uniform. But then there were people who were questioning that why is it applicable only for wearing a hijab? Why not is it applicable in case people apply bindi? Should it not be applicable when people wear bangles? Should it not be applicable when people are wearing cross signs, right? Or having a tilak? So that is a question raised. Public disorder, totally uncalled for. All right, what do we have in the editorials today? The third editorial is on India countering China. So beautiful segment that I saw on one of the newspapers 2 days back is that the heading was this: India is silent on Myanmar, cautious on Ukraine, and tough on China. Imagine this, a country, now look at the way you should be looking at questions. So broadening of your perspective, and then how should they be answered, we should look at that. India having democracy, and India, America, European countries, ideally they are supposed to protect democracy around the world. But Myanmar is not going through democracy. They are not. American and Europeans are speaking about it, but they want India to, be upfront and speak about democracy in Myanmar. India wouldn't do that. Why? Because Myanmar is its only next neighbor, and India wants peace more than the kind of governance that exists. India wants to empower the opposition so that even if there is dictatorship or military coup in Myanmar, people are staying at peace, right? Because it also secures our borders, which are vulnerable against Myanmar right now. So that is the reason that India is silent here. If you remember, strategic silence or astute diplomacy, again, these are the keywords. So if you remember, the nations around the world have moved away from ideological strengths. So they are looking at national interest. Looking at national interest, India is silent on Myanmar. Similarly, looking at the national interest, India is cautious on Ukraine. India is not speaking anything. USA has said, if there is a war, please be on our side. On the other hand, yes, updates for you people. USA says that there's going to be an impending war. It is just a matter of time. On the other hand, Russia says that they have withdrawn troops. USA says that troops have been withdrawn, but their machine guns, their tanks, ammunition, armored weaponry, everything is still at the place. On the other hand, Russia says, no, we also withdrew our wagons and train containers which contain these kind of weaponry and ammunitions. So this is the kind of confusion between both the countries, and rumors are actually being spread around, but on the ground, no war as of now. As I mentioned, that they will try to, especially Russia will try to escalate the possibility of war to the highest levels, but they will definitely, war is not good for anybody. So this is the update on Ukraine, and India is cautious because India wants to maintain friendly relations with both of them. On the other hand, India is tough on China. Oh, why so? Why are we tough on China? Because this is where India wants to gain a little supremacy. See, there were times when India was not even speaking about border issues with other countries, but now our foreign minister and our foreign secretary, they are openly speaking about the border issues with China, that they have with China, with other stakeholders. This is itself a good example of India asserting its power, its domain of influence. And now USA has said that India is central to the Asia-Pacific region. This makes India more credible as a nation. And if other countries are purchasing our defense weapons, this is all the more good, because this will only make India more of a credible player. USA asserting that India is an important player, that is a very good thing. So this article says that the association between Australia, Japan and USA already existed. Pivot is India. India is providing the important pivot. Look at the kind of population, look at the emerging economy that India has. So India can actually provide that particular pivot for maintaining the rule-based order. But look at India's astute diplomacy. Silent on Myanmar, cautious on Ukraine, tough on China, right? So this is a possible question. If UPSC exam was to be held in a couple of or 3 months, I would have taken a question of this sort, right? A question of this kind have been asked this year as well, right? So India says that duck test. Our foreign secretary said it is the duck test. What is the duck test? If it looks like a duck, if it walks like a duck, and if it quacks like a duck, quack, so it must be a duck. So if you people are observing that China is actually dominating other countries, it is persecuting the minorities, it must be such, right? So it is important that India and Quad play a stronger role to have long-term consequences, long-term equilibrium set in the neighborhood, Indo-Pacific. So no more Asia-Pacific, Indo-Pacific. All right. So what is the next editorial? The next editorial is on outcome budgeting. See, there are quite a few types of budgeting, right? One is outcome-based budgeting. The other one is zero-based budgeting. The other one is the regular budget that we keep following. So what's the difference? The difference here is that regular budget, suppose this is a matter of efficiency and resource allocation. So in regular budget, if suppose there was a scheme for laying down roads, right? So 10,000 crores allotted last year, and they said that we have spent all the money, but it didn't work out so well. We also had to maintain some roads. So now we are wanting 5,000 crores more. So this is a running budget, no? Last year's budget, and now it got continued in this year. Regular budget. What happens in outcome budgeting or outcome based budgeting is that they see the performance or the actual implementation of the program last year. What was the outcome? Good example of this is that of creation of toilets, right? They created toilets, 2 toilets, suppose in a village area, and now they see that the toilets are not in usable condition. They are not in usable condition because there is no availability of water, because it is located far away from the village homes. So they say that the proposal was that they wanted to create 2 more toilets in the same locality. Understanding that the outcome is negative, they will not do this. So outcome will be based on the experience of the last year. This is more important than the regular budgeting. Regular budgeting will be top-down approach. Outcome will be feedback-based approach. This is far more intelligent and smarter way of assessing the budgetary requirements. In outcome budget, another but there is an issue with outcome-based budget. That is that for assessing the outcome, we need technical capability. We need those people who can assess the requirements here. They didn't get served, and then they will have to give a feedback. Are these people empowered right now? No, not at all. We don't have workforce only to be able to assess the development. Right now, the central government is only about giving and pushing in money, right? But then this is one important efficiency-based parameters for budgeting, outcome-based budgeting. The government has actually started to look at outcome-based budgeting. Agriculture should use outcome-based budgeting. Indian Railways is doing it. Why? Because thrusting in more inputs is not required where it is not actually needed. Right? Outcome-based budgeting is the requirement, but we lack technical competency. Some certain departments have initiated this, but this is a rigorous process. Technical capabilities, data, figures will be required. What is zero-based budgeting? Zero-based budgeting is the one which will not consider, which will start from zero. It will not consider what has been done in the last year, what was the requirement last year, what were the shortcomings last year. It will start with zero base, right? So this is zero-based budgeting. The article speaks about outcome-based budgeting, which is more important. It says that people keep on regularly looking at the budget speeches, but they don't look at the outcome budget, which is far more valuable a component for the budget schemes, right? So this must be incorporated in the budgets, all right? This will also ensure transparency in the budget. Absolutely, it will. More accountability. Funds cannot be asked for if performance was not achieved in the last year. Simple as that. The third editorial is on more federal judiciary. See, what is happening these days is that India has integrated judiciary. So high courts, and then we have district courts, and then we also have a complete hierarchy of courts and Supreme Court. In the constitutional schema, both these courts, Supreme Court and High Court, are placed at the similar level. Both of them are court of records, right? Court of records. So any High Court which has delivered a justice, all its judgments will be recorded and they will be used for delivering justice in the future times. So goes for Supreme Court. So they have got similar powers. On the other hand, in case of appeals, Supreme Court has got a wider wider realm. That is absolutely true. But right now what do we see is that Supreme Court exercises more power in its ability to transfer the judges from the High Court, and probably it needs to decentralize more powers to create a better federal network. Otherwise what has been seen usually is that a country with unitary bias federal, with center having more power than the states, this gets reflected with the courts as well. Supreme Court will exercise more power just like center does as compared to the High Court. This is how it should not happen. This is an integrated judiciary, and the judges at High Court level are also equally powerful. And why only High Courts? Look at the judges at the lower courts. They are also judges. They also have the duty to abide by the constitution and to be able to deliver justice. Justice, it cannot be said that justice is delivered in lesser efficiency here and higher efficiencies at these places. Justice has to be delivered with efficiency at all the places. So this is the reason that the editorial demands that the Supreme Court should delegate more power. It should create more federal judiciary in our country. All right, re-empowering the High Courts. In fact, High Courts also should learn to re-empower the lower courts. Lower court word itself is derogatory, right? Part of editorial we discussed, right? If you like this initiative, share some love through likes, comments and shares, right? They are very important because through that we grow. And I merely repeating this every time, you might think this is a mere repetition, but then it is really important. All right. So Ravi says, A.K. Antony, when was defense minister, defended its stance of not building, that if they build border roads along China, it would provoke them. See, so not taking names, but this is absolutely true that India would not discuss these kind of issues in the international diplomatic space. The issues that it has with China, the issues that it has with Pakistan, India would say we will discuss it bilaterally. But now it says that no, we will seek support, international cooperation, no problem, right? And India would also refrain from exercising, from doing exercises, Malabar exercises, etc. India would not, India would refrain from participating in many of these exercises, going into South China Sea or East China Sea, because China would be irked. But now India is more independent to participate like this. So this is an important change in India's strategy. India's diplomacy right now is being appreciated, right? Even in case of Afghanistan, when India did not participate in many processes, in Ukraine issue, India did not get the right opportunity to participate. It still, keeping quiet is still better than speaking the wrong word, right? So India has been appreciated. Yes, if India commits a mistake, if it leads to some repercussions, then we will use the other set of words, right? So this is how answering has to be done. We have to understand both the sides, and demand of the question has to be met, right? So going to case study of the day. Today's case is on Sandhya Mukherjee. See, what you should learn from this case is what one should not do. Look at the sentence. This is not to be done, right? Calling it insulting and demeaning, right? She refused to accept the award, calling it demeaning and insulting. No, we will not even talk like this, because this is not how this is not the kind of articles that we should be looking at. So little about Sandhya Mukherjee, a singer. She also sang for many for Bangladesh, patriotic fervor, and she was awarded Padma Shri, but she refused, saying that it is too late to award a person like me right now, right? So we will not use a sentence like this. Please apologize. I apologize on behalf of our whole team here, right? This is important to understand what not to be done in a case, right? Case ideally is to be a positive case, right? Even if a case of highlighting the errors or issues, right? So they have to be relevant to the cause, all right? And then a solution has to be provided. So this is the case for today. All right, we will have a number of cases that we will cover in the feature news. I assure you that at least 10 cases to be covered in the feature news, and that is why I'd like you all to shift to the feature news immediately. If there are questions, please post them down so that we are able to help you better on this, right? And we will quickly shift to the feature news for today, that is on climate smart agriculture. All right, thank you for watching. And the questions, recommendations, suggestions, most welcome. We will watch you. We will meet you immediately. Thank you, Pooja, for the likes, and I appreciate all of you writing answers. Thank you very much. People viewing offline, start off, write answers in the offline segment as well. That will be worth appreciation. There are few people who are doing it, and it shows in their efforts. It shows in their development and progress as well, right? So please go ahead and help yourself. Thank you for participating.